You're listening to the House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network. All music on this podcast and radio network are purchased under all applicable licenses by the Big Patriot Radio Network.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
And good evening, everybody. Once again, thank you for joining us. It is another Thursday. That means it's time for Beaver County's House of Cards. And you know, I found out today, I hadn't been keeping track of this. We are like at episode number like 104 or 5 or something like that. So, hey, that's awesome. We've gone around the moon 100 times, and we're going to go for 100 more or more. Again, thank you for everybody for joining in tonight. No matter if you're watching us live on YouTube or Facebook or another one of the other YouTube channels or Facebook channels. You can also listen to us live on bigpatriotradio.com as we simulcast this show over there on the station. A lot of you already over there listening from around the country and a couple from around the world. Tonight, we've got a great show coming up for you. We're going to continue. You saw the title of the show, Quid Pro Quo, Daufuskie style. So you know we're going to talk about that. It'll be our fourth installment, our fourth episode, having to do with some issues surrounding things over on Daufuskie, Hilton Head, even St. Helena Island, and some of the cast of characters involved with that. We've also got podcasts on the radio station 5 nights a week. Be sure you tune into those. On Monday nights, it's New America Movement with David and Jordan Cox at 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock on bigpatriotradio.com. Also on Wednesdays is the number one, but I got a feeling I may beat him this week. The number one rated podcast, that's the Overton Report with Corey Allen, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights. Thursday nights, again, we're right here with Beaver County's House of Cards. Saturday, we've got the Southern Sense Radio Show with Ann Ubellis, the Radio Chickadee, at 7 o'clock on Saturdays. And Sundays at 7 o'clock, also in the evening, it is Andrew Southwick and Culture Crossroads. Something about Ann Ubellis and Southern Sense Radio. I think we're going to be able to work this out. Next week, we'll have, it'll be a duo, kind of a tandem thing going on with she and I. We have she put some things together. We've been collaborating about it, some conversation. And hopefully we're going to do that next week, and we'll have her right here. It'll be a special show. I don't want to give it away, but we'll talk more about that later. We do have someone coming on the screen tonight with us. We have a guest that's going to be here. We'll talk about that at the bottom of the hour. Let's see. Easier Said with Rum. Great song by Old Dominion. Was the number one most requested song this week. And not a surprise, but Daufuskie Island and Hilton Head Island recorded its highest viewership ever here on the House of Cards. Gainesville, Florida made it in the top 3. And if you're on Facebook, please like the page. Follow us on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. And then ring the little bell thingy and follow along. And you'll be notified when we have events coming up and shows and so forth. We do want to keep access to this show free, and it has been for so long. And I want to take a moment to thank those folks who have contributed to the show. I greatly appreciate it. Had some folks do that today, and it's awesome. It keeps these things going. And if you would like to get involved in that, be a part of the show, help us keep bringing this along. There you see on the bottom of your screen the ticker, all the information how you can do that. And if you want to do it the old-fashioned way with a check, hey, we can do that too. You can also send stars. I still don't know about how all that works, but you can send stars through Facebook. Supposedly, we're almost eligible on YouTube for that. Not sure what I got to do, but anyway, we're just doing what we do. So anyway, we appreciate everybody's help in keeping independent news and media journalism free for everybody.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
So most people in and around the Southeast during this week have had their attention on the threat of tropical storm turned hurricane turned tropical storm Debby. We hope that all of you watching had nothing happen other than a rain event. Debby made landfall near the Big Bend of Florida in the Steinhatchee area of the Big Bend of Florida near Apalachicola. Around 7 o'clock Monday morning, it landed as a Cat 1 hurricane. As you all know, the storm slowed to a crawl and went across Florida. There was killing at least 4 that I know of. Exiting southeast Georgia, and then went across there and exited around Savannah, Tybee, somewhere in that area. It's back over the. It was back over the Atlantic ever since I wrote this. Now it's back over land. Deluge, just a deluge of rain that we've seen up and down the East Coast so far, the Florida, Georgia, Carolinas area. At least locally, prior to Debbie getting to my location along the South Carolina coast, we had picked up unofficially about 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches of rain. I think after that, we topped out at 10 and a half inches of rain somewhere. That's unofficial. Now, the National Weather Service kept saying, there's another 10 inches coming. There's another this coming. At least here, I didn't see that. And if I didn't measure that, I didn't see that. And that's good. I mean, 10 inches is bad. Don't get me wrong. And worry with that kind of rainfall, especially about the shallow root trees in our area, the live oaks, the water oaks, things like that. These majestic wonders of the Southeast tower over the landscape in some places, providing, canopy, yet their root systems are remarkably quite shallow. And if you remember back in, was it 16 with Matthew, we came back, a lot of people evacuated. We did when we came back. I mean, there was trees just boom, 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 like bowling pins. And there were all these oak trees that had pulled their root systems up out of the ground. Waterlogged the ground and a little bit of wind, and over they go. The pines get snapped off. Pines grow deep. So they're not going to likely get pulled up out of the ground. They get snapped off. Fortunately, we didn't have any, at least here locally, in my area, we didn't have any of those big oaks fall. Had a little debris and so forth, but a lot of rain. Thank goodness for no wind that made them topple like bowling pins. Very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate is all I can say. Some folks, however, were not so lucky and saw some of these big trees. We've noticed pictures. I'm sure you have too. Trees collapse on boats, houses, and cars. And, May River Road, Route 46 here in Bluffton. We heard on the scanner the trees just boom, 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 one after the other. And those are some big, majestic oak trees fell on the road. Places over in northern Beaufort County, Broad River Road Boulevard, apparently had a lot of oak trees fall. And also on Ladies Island, had their fair share of some big oak trees coming on down. For you folks that are watching in the Midwest, you have tornadic threats. In the Northeast, you folks that are up there listening to us right now, you have blizzards. Tropical cyclonic storms are ours here in the Southeast. And I can only speak for where I live. And the question is, people say, are these any worse than they ever have been? Well, I can only answer for the time that I have been here in this part of South Carolina, which is like 30 years or so. And to me, no, the answer is no. I don't see them being any worse. I don't see them being any less, catastrophic. I don't see a change. What I do see, and I've always said, it seems like we're really protected in this little corner. It's kind of like, if you're looking at South Carolina on the map and where it does this is where we are. And for some reason, Matthew was horrible. I remember the very first one. I don't know. I want to say Floyd, but that's probably wrong. It was a big deal. And everybody left it. It was a nothing burger. We just seem to be protected here for some reason. So no, I don't see them getting more frequent. I don't see them getting stronger. Again, here, but I do see the media, specifically weather-related media outlets, using more and more sensationalism and let's call them tactical maneuvers to make these storms, every storm that comes seems more and more gargantuan. I think we can all remember, again, 8 to 10 years ago, and I believe it was either Matthew or Ida, or I don't remember. Anyway, one weather outlet, don't want to name them, but one weather outlet field reporter got busted for holding on to a stop sign and, was shaking and, man, this is pulling me away and I've got to be, I've got to be secured and blah, blah, blah. And the rain is coming down in sheets and, whatever, and talking about the velocity and the fierceness of the wind. And then you see two guys behind him walking behind him. Y'all remember that? That was kind of like, wow. That's what's wrong with mainstream journalism. The need to have to sensationalize to sell ad space and increase viewership. Now, I will give a tip of the hat, and I've got a couple of, and they're not paying for this, and I didn't ask their permission, but they're not paying for it, so I don't care. But I got to give a tip of the hat to two places. Where is it? Both of these are independent outlets. One is let me find his picture here. They do it right. The first one here is Mike's weather page. This is his. I guess this would be his banner for YouTube. You see his. I'm giving him some props here, Mike. His website is spaghettimodels.com, but Mike's weather page on Facebook and YouTube, excuse me, does a fantastic job. He's not a meteorologist. I don't know what he does. I want to say he's like a computer guy, but he really digs meteorology. I mean, he gets into it. That's his thing. Softball, I believe, and with his kids and the weather. That's his thing. And he doesn't sensationalize it. He doesn't blow smoke up your ass while he's doing it. It's just, it is what it is. And he just brings it to you. Now he's doing the storm chaser stuff. It's just raw. It's just raw. And you can take whatever you want out of it. You decide. He does offer suggestions based on facts from official sites, National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center, places like that. And he has a collaboration of people. So he does offer that. A lot of data points on his website. It's almost too busy, too much stuff. Also, let me put this guy up here. Pat Prokop. It's called Pat Prokop's Weather and Nature page on Facebook. I'm not sure if he's got a YouTube channel or not, but again, Pat Prokop is a retired weatherman from WTOC television in Savannah. His website is savannahpat.com, savannahpat.com. It's an excellent source of information. Retired meteorologist, still involved, doing it as a hobby, of sorts. Again, no sensationalizing. He just puts it out there from credible sources and interprets it for the Joe and Jane Doe to figure out, and aside from those national outlets that, overhype it and overtalk it, these two places, I got to give them credit. The same thing applies for the news. We talk about mainstream media here all the time, and who is that? Who exactly? Some people have said, who do you mean when you say mainstream media? Well, that's NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, and then AP and Reuters to an extent, but I don't lump them into the whole thing. BBC and Al Jazeera and the like, they all survive on advertising. Okay, advertisers, not so much AP and Reuters because they feed stories to other places, but these national outlets, they survive on advertising. Advertisers spend money with the number of eyes on target are high. The lower the number of eyes, the less the cost of the ad. The higher they are, the more the cost of the ad. It's supply and demand. Spinning the news to make it newsworthy, however, is an age-old tactic that has been professionalized over the last decade or two. It's getting to the point, it is getting worse and worse, and it's getting to the point now where common sense thinking people say CNN, MSNBC, the big three are left-leaning, and I agree 100%. Fox tends to be somewhat right-leaning, but I mean, even that's not always true. You should know or you should not know, rather, the political spin of the TV channel host. If this was a perfect world, you wouldn't know if, Nora O'Donnell or who's some of the other ones? I don't know, Brett Baer. Pick your favorite. You should not know their political affirmation by the way they deliver the news, like was done back in the 70s and the 80s to an extent, the 60s. I mean, that was just, here's the news. Good night, America. You shouldn't know it of the producers and the directors, but you can tell that by the way the story is written, that the anchors actually deliver it. So we do because why? Because they're sensationalizing the news. Even local newspapers, while not sensationalizing the news at all times, more often they will only cover one side of a story. We see that here locally. You see it locally wherever you are watching. Putting emphasis on the side of the journalist, and I use that term loosely for some of them, but not all, but some. I will give credit where credit is due, and here locally, one of the current journalist reporters for the Island Packet, Sebastian Lee, does what I consider to be a real journalistic point of view in his writing. Just the story, no spin. His writing is, I'm okay with Sebastian. I can't say that with hardly any other of the local, if there what few there are, remaining. David Lauderdale, who has retired, completely non-sensationalized, just the data, just the beef, folks. Here it is. You do what you want with it. Make a meatloaf or make a hamburger. This outlet tries to do the same thing. We just give you the story. You decide. Obviously, yes, we're a conservative-based outlet, but to be honest, if you go back and look at all 100 and some odd episodes, I have been more critical of my so-called fellow Republicans most of the time than I am of Democrats or independents. And that is on purpose. I could blow smoke up everybody's ass and say how great every single Republican is, blah, 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 like some people like Jodan Lee does. But then again, that would be a complete fabrication of this truth. That would be sensationalizing the news for you. We are not in the do as I say, vote as I say, speak to whom I say, and I will promote the hell out of you type of republicanism, excuse me, that somebody like a Jodan Lee does. No, we report what is going on. We give our opinion, but you decide. This has always been our way of doing it. We report it, you decide, do what you will. That, my friends, that is tonight's opening segment here on the House of Coffee.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, we have a special guest who is coming on here in just a minute. He's back there in the green room, getting himself all prepped up and makeup on and fresh shave and all that. Our special guest tonight, Jimmy Daly. We'll bring him on here in just a second. Jimmy Daly, he is running for Jasper County Council in the Robertville Township. Early voting starts next Monday out there in Jasper County. Jimmy has just a little bit of his background. He is the former director of Jasper County ER services. He had served on pretty good pedigree here. Beaufort Jasper Comprehensive Health Board, the Jasper County Resource Foundation, the Town of Ridgeland ATAX Commission. I feel his pain there. 8 years Jasper County Election Commission. And then he was reappointed to the Election Commission. So without further ado, let's click a couple of buttons here and welcome in Jimmy Daly. How are you, sir? I think you're muted. Try it again. No, not yet. We'll give Jimmy here just a few minutes to get. Try it now. Let me see if that does anything. Yep, it's definitely on your end. Definitely on your end. And don't forget, while we're getting this fixed, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to we want to see your comments. Let us know when you have a question, have a comment, have a concern, a question, or whatever. Go into, if you're in Facebook, go to your chat bar. If you're on YouTube, you can do the same thing there. Go into your chat bar and type in your question, your comment, your concern, your whatever. Put it on there, and it'll come to us after it goes through some filters. Somehow in the cyber world, we'll get it here, and we'll read it. Or if it's just a note to us, we'll stock it or whatever. Hey, here we go. Jimmy, are you back? Still can't hear you. If anybody can hear, I can't hear Jimmy through the console. If by some reason it's going somewhere else, if any of you can hear him, let me know in your chat bar. No, Jimmy's going to try it again. All right. It is 25 minutes past the hour here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. Coming up here in a little bit after we see if we can get Jimmy's audio fixed on his end. We've got some news coming out we want to share with you from the state capitol involving one of South Carolina's State House members. We've also got, again, we've got number 4 episode of the Daufuskie saga. We'll get to that. Let's see if Jimmy's got his microphone up yet. I can't hear a word you're saying, Jimmy. I hate that. Anything there, Jimmy? Can you hear me? Audio problems will drive a man insane. If you look on the bottom of your computer there should be a microphone on the bottom of the page, the screen. Is that on? If you right click it? Let's see here. We've got I got your messages, but for some reason it is not transmitting through your computer. If it would be easier for you, we can come back here in about 15 minutes or so, and see if you can get it worked out in between time, and you can jump back on here in about 15 minutes. That'll work? Okay. All right. We'll do that. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll move on to the story I wanted to talk to you about. Out of the State House, some big news come out of the state capitol within the last few days or so. Our friends over at Fitz News, I want to give them the total credit for this. They were the first to break this story. On Monday of this week, a search warrant was executed by Homeland Security and the South Carolina SLED agents at the home of two-term South Carolina House of Representatives member R.J. May of West Columbia. According to Fitz News, federal agents, I see you there, Jimmy. We'll try it here again in just a second. According to Fitz News, federal agents supported locally by SLED in Columbia conducted an ongoing investigation probing allegations related to, quote, child exploitation, specifically allegations tied to child sex abuse materials, also known as CSAM, and it's more commonly referred to as child pornography. It is reported by that same outlet that confiscated unspecified files and electronic devices were reportedly seized in connection with the raid, and there is supposedly, according to Fitz News, at least one witness who is cooperating with law enforcement officials. Now, the probable cause affidavit has not been released. However, sources familiar with the document say there was more than enough information provided to lawfully obtain it, again, per Fitz News. HIS, as named in the document, is Homeland Security. That is the lead agency in this case, and according to its website, it, quote, is a global leader in the fight against child exploitation, end quote. Sources close to Fitz News have addressed the nature of the investigation, which ensnared Representative May. They have not specified whether the federal probe is focused on alleged production or dissemination of child pornography or the possession thereof. Representative May is not. I want to make sure that you understand that he is not in custody, and as of time of writing this story, no warrants rather have been issued for his arrest. Obviously, that could change at any minute, but remember, as always, he is for everyone. He is innocent until proven guilty. Now, Representative May has not responded to any requests of comment from any outlet that we've been able to find, including the House of Cards, but he has addressed rumors about this in conversations with some of his colleagues in the South Carolina Freedom Caucus. Per Fitz News, two members of the caucus said May advised and described to them that the search was surrounding a possible firearm charge. Those same two sources said May implored them to, quote, blast the deep state, end quote. Now, Representative May and his allies in the Freedom Caucus have been on what I would say is cloud nine over the past several weeks after slicing the GOP uniparty that we talk a lot about here. Fitz News talks about it. The Overton Report talks about it. Pretty much any independent agency talks about the GOP uniparty. Slicing their numbers down during the primary elections this past spring. Now, hopefully, this recent concern will not affect others in campaigns this fall, and it shouldn't. May is solely responsible for his actions and his actions only. Obviously, this story is still developing, and we will keep you abreast of what happens. Let's go back, see if Jimmy is there. Jimmy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can. What you're going to need to do is turn the volume down, I guess, on the computer, because you've got a lot of feedback.
How about that? Is that better?
There you go. Perfect. I'm glad we got that all taken care of. Let me roll my page back up here. Jimmy, I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know you've got a time constraint this evening, so I want to jump right into a few things that we have here. Thank you for, again, coming on here. Thank you for stepping up and wanting to continue. You know, it's not like this is your first rodeo. You want to continue to serve the people of Jasper County. Tell us, if you will, about this special election that you're in.
Well, Councilman Coy Garbade got elected 2 years ago, and then he got sick and passed away. So this is a special election to finish his term out, which will be 2 years left on this term. And the special election will be August the 27th. And there is a primary, and there are two Democrats running also. I'm running in the Republican primary. So then there will be a general election along November the 5th with the regular general election in November to decide who will fill the seat for the remainder of the term. Okay.
And we do give our respects to the Garbade family. That's a big family there in Jasper County.
Yes, it is. It is a big family. Matter of fact, he was actually related to me also.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And but I've been a lifelong resident of Jasper County. I love my county. Got a passion for my county, and I've never been one of the good old boy system people. I've always been one that always wanted to stand up for what is right. I believe in term limits, and I believe that it's time now that the citizens of Jasper County have a voice, and it's time that we have transparency and accountability in our county government, which has been lacking the last 40, 50 years.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I guess it was late this afternoon, long after I talked to you way earlier. I had a message from someone, and they said that they wanted to ask me directly to ask you. It was about that very thing. They were concerned, and according to them, that they have some other neighbors and residents and so forth in Jasper County. They're concerned about the good old boy system.
Yeah.
And specifically wanted to know, are you going to, continue it, or are you going to break that mold?
Yep. Yeah, I have never been part of the good old boy system. That's the reason several years ago, my brother and I helped to get Gary Hodges elected in as mayor of Ridgeland, because we were tired of the good old boy system ourselves. We've seen things happen over the years. And so we worked hard to get him elected because we were tired of the good old boy system. And I've never been a part of it. When I was on the election commission for 8 years, I was the sole Republican representative on the election commission here in Jasper County, and saw a lot of things that we tried to change. And of course, I was only one voice, and it was hard, but we uncovered a lot of irregularities during the time that I was there that we tried to fix.
Good. Now, in looking, as I had said there at the beginning, your background real quick, you have served the people of Jasper County on the Beaufort Jasper Comprehensive Health Board, the ATAX Commission in the town of Ridgeland, the Election Commission, and the other things. What pushed you, if so to speak, to continue this role of service by running on county council? Well,
I finally retired. After I got off the election commission in 2013, I was self-employed. I had an insurance agency. And so I took a back seat, and now I retired. I sold my business last year, and I said, it's time for me to get back involved and see if I cannot help to represent the citizens of Jasper County, because it's time that they have a voice, and they need someone on the county council that's got backbone, that will say no when it's time to say no, or say yes when it's time to say yes, and to represent the citizens of Jasper County. The citizens of Jasper County is who the county council works for. The county council does not work for the county attorney. The county council does not work for the county administrator. The county council works for the citizens of Jasper County. And I want to be their representative. I want to have breakout town hall meetings when I get elected, so I can hear the concerns and the voices of the citizens of Jasper County and know what their concerns are. According to the Post and Courier a few months ago, Jasper County is the fastest growing county in the United States for the white population, according to the Post and Courier. Not in the Low Country, and not in South Carolina, and not in the Southeast, but in the United States. Wow. So it's time now that we have some good representation. The county is growing. We have got to, first of all, I don't believe in frivolous government spending. The more government money gets, the more they want to spend. And our development, we've gotten the cart before the horse. We've got development coming in, but we've got to control our development now. And, we've got to make sure the infrastructure is starting to be put in place, and the developers need to be paying for that infrastructure, not the taxpayers of Jasper County. And so that's some things that need to be looked into. I've seen things over my last 65 years of being in this county. We've been under Democratic rule my whole life. And they didn't want to see a lot of improvement in Jasper County. Now that we've gotten different population here, Jasper County is starting to move. And I welcome everyone that's moving into Jasper County. And I want to see us to grow. I want to see us grow in the right direction. And sometimes we can overdevelop too fast. So we've got to slow up a little bit. We've already seen that in some areas of Beaufort County. They have gotten very developed, very too quick. The infrastructure's not there. And of course, there are several entities that have to be looked at. You have to work with the town of Ridgeland, the town of Hardyville. The county government has to work together. And we also need to work with Beaufort County as a whole, because you cannot get to Beaufort County without going through Jasper County, unless you go by boat or by air. And so we need to work together. We've got road problems over here, and everyone says they want to put the blame on everybody. Well, You've been here, you said 30 years. I've been here 65, and the Low Country has always been the redheaded stepchild of the state. Spartanburg County, Greenville County, of course, they're more populated than we are, but look at their road conditions compared to ours. We are 30 years behind on our road conditions. And we need to have a county council now that can help put some pressure on the General Assembly and our elected officials on the state level. Senator Tom Davis, Senator Matthews. Senator Matthews is on the Transportation Commission, and she's in the Low Country. She needs to be helping us some. We need to have some infrastructure, and everybody complains about the roads. Well, we've got to put some pressure on them to start helping us and start putting some money down in this area. I got a friend of mine that's in charge of litter control for Jasper County. Last year, the state gave them between $85,000 and $90,000. This year, they had a budget cut. Jasper County didn't get any, but Spartanburg County did.
Yeah. I agree. I agree actually with everything that you just said. I preach about every week here on the show. I want to ask you, and since Jasper County is growing, and I'm going to say especially by the town of Hardyville.
Oh yeah, Hardyville.
Bounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your district, Robertville, is a mostly rural district.
It is mostly rural district. They have redistrict, and so it does take in some of downtown Ridgeland now, and it does take some of the Hardyville area off of 321, and the Pearisburg area is in that, and then down around the Old House area. So it is, but it is mostly rural. Yes, it is.
My question is, how will you support the county in its efforts to grow? I mean, a county staying stagnant is going to go backwards.
Right.
How are you going to support the county's efforts to grow, all while, if I had to put a bet on what the people that live in Robertville area, they probably, if I had to bet, they want to continue a pace of life that they have, laid back, peaceful, not caught up in, downtown Hardyville kind of stuff. How are you going to marry those two things?
Well, what we have to do, first of all, let me tell you how Jasper County is laid out. 80% of the land in Jasper County is owned by about 12 conglomerates. You've got Oakity Club, which owns 50,000 acres. A lot of these other plantations, 20,000 acres, 15, 30,000 acres. And these were all built and bought up by millionaires. And when I say millionaires, just like Good Hope Plantation is heirs of the Herman Pratt. Well, he was Standard Oil Company. We've got Cypress Woods, which is the Milbanks family. He founded Borden Dairy Company. So 80% of the land is owned by these large landowners, and they plant trees. So it's assessed at agricultural. So a lot of those areas are going to stay the way they are until the third and fourth generation start getting them and decide to start selling that out. So what's going to be developed first is the areas that are not owned by those large land corporations.
Interesting. What is when you have to look at everything that is needed in Jasper County, and I find it interesting. When I came here, Jasper County really was the redheaded stepchild to Beaufort County.
Certainly.
In Beaufort County, you have to it's call a spade a spade. Some, not all, but some exploited that. And time does change, and now the shoe is on the other foot.
It is, because it's moving west. It's moving west.
So what is the number one thing, in your opinion, that Jasper County residents, what's needed the most by Jasper County residents that you can have an effect on?
Well, what we need, first of all, is we've got to have improved infrastructure. Our roads have got to be improved, and they've got to be improved immediately. We just had, in some areas, 15 inches of rain. We have a lot of breached highways since Monday. Highway 278 going towards Hampton, you can't get through. Highway 17 is underwater. So that's one of the first things we have to do, is we have to get with the state. We have to get with the with a lot of these developers, and we've got to try to come up with C-Fund money to help try to get these roads back in the condition that they need to be in. That is one of the number one things. Another thing that I look at is we've got to slow down on our development, and the county has to quit rubber stamping every development plan that comes across their desk. The reason being, there's already been approved for 15,000 homes to be built in Jasper County. They can start tomorrow. Well, we've got a population right now of 32,000. When I grew up, it was 12,000. It's taken 65 years for me to see that population triple. Mm-hmm. Now we're looking at the next 5 to 10 years for this population to double, because 15,000 homes, 2 times 15, that's 30,000. You're looking at it to go to 62,000. So we've got, first of all, we need more health care. Mm-hmm. We need more health. You know, in the area I live in, when I say North Jasper County, I'm talking about Ridgeland area, we don't even have an urgent care facility. We have to drive 30 minutes. The closest one we can get to now is in Okatee, Tidewatch. So we have to drive 30 minutes away. We need infrastructure. Medical, urgent care for that. Mm-hmm. Another thing we need a decent parks and recreation department to help with our children. We have a parks and recreation department, but they has nothing planned, and they paying $200,000 now for a group to come in and do a study. Let's hire a director and go ahead and get those programs involved for these kids. A program director can do that. We don't need to pay $200,000 for a study for that. Another thing is we've got to watch government spending also. And I'm not against the airport. An airport is good, but we've built an airport out there, and the airport budget in 2020 was $85,000. It's now gone to over $1 million in 4 years.
What's changed out there?
Well, they have added a runway, which they got federal money to put that in, but it's mismanaged. They bought equipment that doesn't be needed out there. They've even got a de-icer machine out there. And so it's a budget that needs to be looked at. And here again, I'm not against the airport, but we need to look at those budgets. We've got a full-time deputy that's coming out of the airport budget that sits out there 5 days a week. Well, the gate is locked and there's a code on it, and it's in the city limits of Ridgeland. I talked to the chief of police. I said, would you respond if there was a problem? He said, certainly. I said, well, how long would it take you to get there? He said, less than a minute, but yet we have a full-time deputy sitting there, and we average 500 planes a year, which is 1.5 planes a day that's coming in. So that's something that needs to be looked at. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against the airport, but we need to look into those budgets. Another thing that we've elected a new Jasper County treasurer, and he's located some 110, 115 bank accounts in the county. Mm-hmm. I keep hearing different figures. Well, he's asked to look at them, and it's been refused that he look at them. We need transparency. When I hear of things like that, that tells me the government's trying to hide something. Let him look at the accounts, or else let's call in and have a forensic audit done on all the books, and let's make sure all the money is going where it should be appropriated and where it should be going. So all those type of things need to be looked at in this county. But we need health care and we need roads.
Speaking of the healthcare aspect, which is extremely important, and I'm sure I would venture to say, like me, you believe in a capitalism to make that happen. And to make that happen, the government, starting actually at the state level, has to eliminate some of the red tape and the purse strings for someone to come in there and do that. So over the last couple of sessions of the General Assembly, we've seen changes take place to something called the Certificate of Need. It seems like, at least from my little brain outlook, it seems like it's becoming easier for something like that to happen. So what is the next step that Jasper County Council can do to get some healthcare providers in there?
Well, first of all, certificate need is going away in 2027. Right now, it's still in effect, but the certificate of needs are going away in 2027, and that's to build a hospital. That's not to build an urgent care facility. These companies,
urgent care, like a
urgent care. Yeah, I mean, anywhere to get 24-hour care, or at least to get. We have one doctor's office in Ridgeland, so if we need urgent care in Ridgeland, we have to drive 30 minutes away. We have to go to Okatee. So we need another hospital. Buford Memorial, I think, right now is kind of fighting with Novant. We just bought Tenet to try to put in a facility, and like I said, the certificate of need is still there and still in place. But after 2027, my understanding, the certificate needs are going to expire, and they won't have to have those anymore. So then they'll be able to have newer medical facilities in that area, because we do have, over 55 communities in here. And so naturally, the seniors are going to need more health care. And that's something that, like I say, we definitely need to look at, but I have to look at the county as a whole. And we need stuff. Yeah, the south end of the county is flourishing, but we need things in the north end of the county also. So we need to look at everything. And like I say, urgent care facilities badly needed in the north end of the county.
So early voting starts this coming Monday. And let's talk about you and your opponent. What are the key differences between you and your opponent that would, you would implore for someone to say, hey, when you go start early voting on Monday throughout that period, this is why you need to vote for Jimmy Daly and not the opponent?
Well, first of all, I don't know anything about my opponent. He's new to Jasper County, lives down the street from me, and I've only met him twice. As far as I know, he's a nice guy. Don't know a thing about him. But as far as I'm concerned, first of all, I'm a person that has backbone. I'm a person that doesn't mind to speak what the citizens want. I'm a person that doesn't mind to stand up for what is right. And if it's wrong, I'll say it's wrong. If I make a mistake, I'll be the first one to tell you, hey, I'm sorry I made a mistake. But if it's something that I feel that is right, I'm going to go all the way and bat for it. And I believe in speaking up and representing the citizens of Jasper County. I believe in transparency in the government and accountability. We've got to hold county government accountable.
Jimmy, I'll tell you, as someone who sat on Beaufort County's council for a term, and has been preaching ever since then, that what you said was exactly spot on, and that is that a county council member, county council man or county council woman, that representative is a representative of the people, not of the government. So I am I'm very glad to hear that. And I support that 100%. If someone wants to reach out to you and help during the end of this campaign, the last push before the election, I put up an email address that I had for you. Is that the best way, or can they call you, or what can they
call
do?
Me? My phone number is, of course, 843-368-7723. Or can even instant message me on Facebook. It's Jimmy, Jimmie, Daly, Daley. And I'd be glad to hear what anybody's comments are, what their questions are, and I want to know what their concerns are. So I really welcome them to call me. My phone number, I've been an insurance agent for 35 years, and my phone number's always been available for everybody because I believe in being available for my people.
Jimmy, I tell you, I like what I hear, buddy, and I don't have a vote in Jasper County, but I hope this gets some folks to decide to get up off the couch starting Monday and go vote for Jimmy Daly. Anything last minute thing you can say you want to pass on to the voters in Jasper County? We've got a lot of them on here tonight, so you've got quite an audience.
I just want them to know, first of all, I am here to serve the citizens of Jasper County. I'm a person that's got backbone and will stand up for what is right, and I will represent these citizens 100. I'm retired, and I will guarantee I will put 100% of my time into this.
There you go. Contact him at jgdaily1959@gmail.com. Jimmy Daly for Jasper County Council. Thank you for being on here on the House of Cards, and I look forward to continuing this conversation after you win in the primary.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, and you have a good evening. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
How about that? Jimmy Daly going for, let me clear this. Jimmy Daly for Jasper County Council. I tell you, right off the bat, when you start talking about not being part of the good old boy system, you start talking about, hey, I am, there we go. I'm here for the people, not for the government. Those are the things that we need in local government. All right. Speaking of county council, Beaufort County Council, Hilton Head Town Council, you need to be listening to what I'm about to tell you. We've been talking about the Low Country Ferry, Sea Monkey Water Sports, Turner's Marina, Island Head, Daufuskie, Baypoint. We've been talking about all of that and the cast of characters and a whole lot more for 3 back-to-back episodes. Tonight, we go to episode 4. Tonight, I want to focus on trying to start to tie the knot between Turner's Marina, the ferry, Melrose, Daufuskie, Baypoint Island on St. Helena, kind of tie that together. Because you see, let's take a jump back in time about Baypoint. Now, you may remember a year or two or so, or whatever it is ago now, a group out of Thailand known as Six Senses, developer of these ultra luxurious spas and getaways. We'd love to try one of those one day. They look fantastic. They wanted to build such a place on Baypoint over on St. Helena. Now, Baypoint Island, if you were to stand on the edge of Hilton Head, near, I guess that would be like Dolphin Head, down that way, and you look, across the sound, the Port Royal Sound, you could see, over here is Paris Island, but straight ahead is Baypoint. Well, they wanted to develop that. And this was met with an expanded public outcry. Conservationists all over the East Coast were involved in this, all saying like hell no to this type of development. Baypoint is a barrier island. You can look at pictures, like Google Earth pictures from from as far back as you can get, and you can see how the island is changing. It's just like Fripp, just like anything else on a barrier island. That island's changing. It's changing in a fast way. Baypoint, barrier island, tip of St. Helena, borders the Atlantic Ocean, and the convergence of, I don't know, it's 2 or 3 main arterial rivers over there in northern Beaufort County that come into the Port Royal Sound. Kind of meets northern Beaufort County and southern Beaufort County right there at Baypoint. To say this is an island with an immense amount of erosion is putting it lightly. Anyway, the efforts of Six Senses and local representatives of them were all shot down. Beaufort County was incredibly crystal clear with the statement of no development on this island. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast, because within the last several months or so, it was brought up to this outlet that Six Senses had added, quote unquote, Baypoint Island back to their main website, talking about the ultra luxurious spas and resorts they build. Website said coming in 2026, et cetera, in reference to Baypoint. Then they added, the term Daufuskie to these ads, and we'll show you some of those. This brought the ire of many. It's been a while, and I've obviously for the last few months only been paying really close attention to this. But the ire of many has been brought to this, but nothing has been happening. So it became more of a I'm watching you type of thing. And that was until recently. We found a video on YouTube. It's called a short, a YouTube short, if you will, that was put together by a user, and his user, I guess you call it not name, but user handle at Corey Ray Photos. This 2 to 3 minute video was both drone coverage and what I consider first person view riding in a Jeep or some 4x4 on Baypoint Island in beaches. The video shows at least 3, but now we know it's 4, but at least 3. You can see at least 3 yurts. If you don't know what a yurt is, just Google the word yurt. It's like a round tent, luxurious tent. Anyway, unless you're in Mongolia. And it also shows some other minor infrastructure elements that if you slow it down and pay attention to it, you can see some of these other infrastructure elements. Remember, this is a place that the county said, no, other than one dwelling, nothing else can be built there. It already has a covered, I guess you call it like a lanai in the middle of the river behind it. It also has a huge dock, a floating dock, and a walkway from the island out to that must be at least several maybe 300 or 400 feet long. I mean, it's huge. So anyway, the title of the video was, quote, Ultimate Adventure, semicolon, Jungle Island Cruise in Private Island, South Carolina, end quote. Mysteriously, so I've had this for a while, mysteriously, like yesterday, the video was taken down and made private. Someone let it out. Someone let it out that we had this video and that it was given to some of the legal folks, possibly at the Coastal Conservation League. And they also had this video, allegedly. So I presume that's why it's now down. Now, aside from several hours ago, I was going to have to show you a Nextdoor. You know the website Nextdoor. Someone had posted a comment about it. There was several threads, and you couldn't access it. Everybody's pissed. That was all I was going to be able to show you. But then it happened that one of our researchers and dear friends of mine was able to do some kind of computer magic or have someone do it and unblock the video. So this is grainy. I'm going to show you the video. It's grainy, but it's there. So let's go to, let me find it here. You know how I am with this. Let's go here. We're going to present. I'm going to share my screen and show you the video. It's called a short on YouTube. So let's do this. And let's go here. Here we go. So we're going to start from this, and I'm going to try to play it. And what you see here is a group of people, a 4x4, and on the beach of Baypoint. And let's put this down. Let's try to play it. That right there. I'm going to stop that and come back. This is a group of yurts. These are round. Let's get this out of here. There you go. Round. Call them tents, call them huts, call them whatever you want. That's you stay in these, and they're on a platform to the ground. So those are the yurts. They're on Baypoint. And that's the extent of let's bring this down here. That is the extent of, there we go, of the short video. Now, it must have got people's stuff on a crawl because we had the video, and I guess it got out that we were going to post it. Well, you took it down, we got it undone, unblocked. There it is. So there's a video that shows these yurts. It's an ultimate, what was it called again? Ultimate Adventure, Jungle Island Cruise in Private Island, South Carolina, advertising for some sort of stay. So what's the big deal? The big deal actually is several fold. Let's look at them. Glad you asked, one by one. Six Senses, number one, Six Senses was told no in its efforts to build anything on Baypoint other than one single structure, basically by Beaufort County. There are multiple things up there now. How do I know that? Well, hey, I'm glad you asked that too. Let's go ahead and let's show you what it looks like on Baypoint Island. So let me bring this out. There you can see as the screen changes here. Over here where my mouse is roaming around, this is Hilton Head. This is up here. This is Paris Island. Over here to the far right, that's Pritchard's Island. And then right here, where we're zooming in now, this is Baypoint. So we've got these layers picked out. So what you can see here, just to get yourself, I'm going to zoom in because right here, as this hope, there we go, clears up. There is the dock. That is a enormous dock. There's the covered, I'm going to call it lanai. And here is the long dock back to the solid ground. And the solid ground this has been added recently within the last year. This is some infrastructure solar panels. We also have a picture of, there is something red right here where my mouse is moving that I believe is a generator. It's hard to depict it, but I believe is a generator. They've named these roads. This is Baypoint Island Way. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. And what you'll see here in these red dotted lines, this we found that these are like 50. It's like 48 or 50, somewhere in that neighborhood. Lots that have been gone through the county, and these are lots. Okay, now what I want to zoom in before I tell you too much, here in almost the middle, we're going to zoom in. There's Baypoint Island Way. We're going to zoom in some more. We're going to zoom in some more. There are the 4 yurts right there that was in the video that aren't supposed to be there, according to every piece of material we have from the county. They're allowed the one house, but now we've got 4 yurts. And over here, northwest of the yurts, another infrastructure panel. These are solar collectors. This is part of infrastructure. Okay, so we're going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to zoom out a little bit for that. So I reached out to someone who was involved. I'm going to reach out a little bit more so you can see all of the lots. I reached out to someone today who was involved with the original, as we call it, Six Senses ordeal, a few years back. He told me he is not officially, quote unquote, involved, but is still involved somewhat on a not official manner now. According to him, they are allowed, they being Six Senses or their designees, allowed to build, and this is his words, 50 McMansions on Baypoint, according to a 1998 document or land agreement or development agreement or whatever this agreement is. Now, you see what is approximately 50 or so lots here. They have changed because the island is getting smaller. You look over here, lot 26 through 48, 50, whatever that is, 54. These used to have usable land, and now they're either beach or they're in the water. So the encroachment has begun. These are supposed to be 3 to 5 acre lots or larger. I can tell you that lot 38 is nowhere near that. The dune line is here. Also, I believe they call that the OCRM line, is here. And on the backside, these are marshland. So you maybe could pop a tent there. That's about it. But anyway, so is Six, and this should tell you something right here. So is Six Senses wanting to build this ecotourism place with the yurts that you saw here to complement its lavish plans on Daufuskie, which they are not mincing any words. They have plans on Daufuskie to change Melrose into a Six Senses facility with Whitestone and Red Rock. More about that in a minute. We also found that in one of these lots, there is, and it's covered by a tree canopy, this is a commercial container right here. Beside it, in looking at this as close as we could, these are storage containers. This long one is a shipping container. What's in those shipping containers and why are they on this island? Happens to be on lot number 98. Now, the house that they have, I believe, I didn't look at this, I didn't really see the need, but I believe was washed away or has gotten covered up by the canopy. So are they going to complement its plans on Daufuskie with this on Baypoint, or are they literally going to try and backdoor the county and the taxpayers by going to build 50 off the grid mega homes? Because you see, these still have to have, whether they're on grid or off grid, they still have to have sanitary waste. There's no way you could get that on Baypoint. I do not see that happening. 50, 48, any whatever waste systems. The yurts, there has to be a waste sanitary system there. How did they do that? How did they get permits to do that? Did they get permits to do that? Where is the water, the drinking water? Did they get permits to drill wells? Do they have OCRM approval? That stands for Ocean and Coastal Resource Management, I think. Do they have building permits to do any of this? I would say to those that want to fight this, you need to get involved now. Number 2, Whitestone and Red Rock own the Melrose property and are fixing it. Now, when I say own it, it may be, there's a gentleman, Timothy Pitcher, it may be in his name. I'm not going to get in the minutia of that because it really doesn't matter. The parties are, the cast of characters are Whitestone and Red Rock. They're fixing it. They brought in a group, a family or whatever from Kentucky. One of them got hauled away by the Kentucky U.S. Marshals. They're there fixing it, supposedly. Number 3. Oh, before that, number 2, the end of that. Whitestone and Red Rock are involved with Six Senses. There's no question about that. Number 3, Six Senses is now advertising a new development on Melrose property on Daufuskie Island as part 1 of 2 total parts of ecotourism, ultra luxurious health spas and houses for sale or for rent. Number 4, on WHHI television, a few years ago, attorney Tom Taylor gave an interview about the positives of a Six Senses development on Baypoint Island, what those positives would be, and that he was allegedly trying to convince the county as well. And by watching his interview, he was perplexed that nobody was on board with this. Number 5, Tom Taylor, the attorney, is the same attorney for Neil Turner, Sea Monkeys, Turner's Marina, Low Country Ferry, and a cast of others. Number 6, we've shown how Low Country Ferry is in collaboration or corroboration with a group named Island Head. Low Country Ferry, in writing, for example, puts in writing that it supplies, puts down names of people as part of their organization who are really employed and or own all or part of Island Head. If you look at the county GIS mapping site, when you go to the Turner's Marina Sea Monkey Water Sports area, it comes up Island Head. Well, you don't believe me? Well, let me show it to you. Let's go back to that mapping site. This same mapping site. We're going to drill out of it. Just go across the Sound over here to Hilton Head, and let's drill into Hilton Head, and let's find Jenkins Road, and let's go down here. Here we're coming. This is the RV park over here. This is Jenkins Road. We're going to go drill down. Drill down. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Hold on a minute. I'm in the wrong. Anyway, that's what it looks like. But let's get out of that one. And let's go to, I meant to go to Google Earth. Wrong one, Mike. Google Earth. There we go. Let's get into this one. All right, so here we are, Google Earth. We're going to come back out. There's the Baypoint. We're going to go over here to Hilton Head. There's Dolphin Head, going to come down Skull Creek here. and around, and here we go. There is Jenkins Road, right through the woods. Here is Hilton Head RV Resort. Here's Sea Monkeys, Turner's Marina, and, well, son of a gun, kiss my rear. It says Island Head right there. There's the marina. There's the restaurant, but it says Island Head. Interesting, don't you think? Number 7, we've been asking if Low Country Ferry and or Neil Turner, are you purposefully trying to get the Sunset Grill to sell out, to close, to go bankrupt? Are you purposefully trying to do the same thing with Hilton Head RV Resort? To shutter, the POA go bankrupt, sell everything off? I mean, we talked to you last week about court cases that Turner either has taken people to court or been taken to court. And it looks like he's got first right of refusal if he does all these things correct. Anytime somebody wants to sell a lot in the RV resort, that's not the point. Other than, did you do that to try to get them to so you own it all? I mean, I'm just asking. We've been pondering whether all of these businesses in which the names Neil Turner and his associates come up all the time, are they allegedly trying to run like a mafia style kingdom over water sports and water transportation by, to be totally honest with you, eliminating competition at all costs? Because that's not what Mike Covert thinks. Even though I do, that's what people on Hilton Head think. That's what people on Daufuskie think. That's what people who don't even live here have been writing into the show saying, this is a mafioso style takeover, a Gestapo cut and run to own the island. Is that what you're trying to do? We found that Turner has told just a little fib about the Drifter being part of his fleet. We told that to you last week. And that's not allegedly. We know it's true because the owner of the Drifter told me personally that no, the Drifter is not part of his fleet, and the Drifter and he have nothing to do with Turner. Told me that personally. Number 8, think about this now. If Turner was to be able to get the Hilton Head RV Resort to sell off, I don't know, was it 200 lots? 200 RV spots. Got that to sell off. He owned it all. 7 acres, 8 acres. The restaurant to close. He's already trying to get them not to be able to use the bathroom or park anywhere there. Shit, the only thing left to do is close. He would or could own 100% of the water access there. Yeah, there's a county dock or a fishing pier, which what I went down there and was asked to buy this and that or rent this or that. And I'm going to go into that, but that's called running a business off a county piece of property. By the way, Neil, I told him no. The young man who asked me, nah, I'm just walking around. Anyway, 7 or 8 acres of RV spots would be fan-freaking-tastic parking for his ferry business. And since he's on the northern side of the waterway, his marina would be the fastest route to Baypoint, aside from Skull Creek. But they're not running ferry service out of there. But so Turner's Marina would be the opportune place to take a ferry, jet down Skull Creek over to the Port Royal Sound, and boom, you're at Baypoint. Wow. He's already going to Daufuskie. Take a right or a left instead of a right down to the Intercoastal Waterway, and poof, you're there. This would make the circle close. Do you see where we're drawing we're not drawing, we're tying the knot on this? And if someone can refute this, my God, please step up to the mic. Number 9, add this to your thoughts. If Turner was able to put the squeeze on hard enough to Daufuskie businesses for them to close, he could hold the entire ability for anyone to do any business anywhere outside of Hague Point on that island. He could hold in the palm of his hands. Is this why every single business I've talked to has said they figure out who they is, are making it harder and harder and more difficult to get items, to get supplies, to get things to sell called product, parts, people to Daufuskie, unless you pay the piper. If Turner doesn't want to shut down all Daufuskie businesses and doesn't want to harm those that live there, then why, Neil and Low Country Ferry, why are you doing what you're doing? Because you're choking them off. You know, I guess the biggest business over there, and this, I don't know this for a fact, I'm just guessing, at least in size, would probably be the distillery. I know their sales are down because nobody can get anything over there without paying exorbitant prices like $25 to ship a bag of freaking chicken seed. God help us. What are you having to pay for rye and all the barley and the malt? Lord have mercy. Number 10. Six Senses is already advertising this entire thing, folks. Yet nothing has been permitted or allowed, but they say F you, and they go ahead anyway. Why is Whitestone and Red Rock allegedly not being completely truthful with the Daufuskie Island community as to what their real intentions and desires are and who's involved? Well, how do you know that? Thank you for asking. Let's put up this first item. This is from the Six Senses website, sixsenses.com. Six Senses, South Carolina Islands will offer guests, residents, and hosts a vibrant coastal community in harmony with its environment. Well. Let's take a looky here. Here it talks about an eco-conscious resort, spa, and residential community going to be coming to the South Carolina shores, including Hilton Head Island, Daufuskie Island, and Baypoint Island. Well, really? The hotel management agreement recently signed by Timothy Pitcher of Whitestone, along with Red Rock Portfolio and Six Senses XO, Neil Jacobs, and CDO Omar Romero. Opening in 2026, spanning multiple coastal locations. Here it talks about Hilton Head Island and the good points about that. Here's about Daufuskie Island. It's going to be a 460-acre Six Senses South Carolina, vis-a-vis also known as Melrose Plantation, guest rooms and private suites, as well as cottages. Again, Melrose. Water sports, sailing, fishing, adventures continue. That would be where Neil Turner and Turner Marina and Sea Monkeys and the rest, Island Head, all come into play. Scroll down to Baypoint Island. Wait a minute. They really put it on about Baypoint. What does it talk about with Baypoint? Whitestone is involved, just like at Melrose. They're going to have its Southern Island Coastal inspired modular Category 5 hurricane resistant biophilic and self-contained branded residential villas of Baypoint Island. Wait a minute. That's not what the county said. A limited number will be available for sale in 2024. How are you doing that? A few years in the making, we're delighted and excited to be partnering with Whitestone and Red Rock in the creation of two special connected communities. They're connected communities. Okay, how do you get to the communities? Here's where Low Country Ferry enters the game. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. This party isn't over yet. Let's open up Ethos, theethos.co. Six Senses' new South Carolina resort project to rewild guests with hybrid yachts, biophilic design, and nature-inspired spa treatments. I don't know where this picture came from, but this is definitely not a Baypoint nor Daufuskie. Little misinterpreted misadvertising. From February 2024, Six Senses will expand and be completed by 2026, a luxury destination in South Carolina. Hilton Head, Daufuskie, and Baypoint Island, it says. And it goes on to pretty much say the same thing that we read on the other page. And here you have a picture. This is of Daufuskie Island. What else do we have to show that's of any interest? Well, gosh, I'm glad you asked. Let's go to the Luxury Travel Advisor. March 2024, Six Senses coming to South Carolina in 2026. Oh my God, they're the same pictures used. They signed a hotel management agreement with Whitestone and Red Rock. They're going to open an eco-conscious resort spa and residential community on the shores, Hilton Head, Daufuskie, and Baypoint. 2026, multiple locations. Going to be just a short distance from Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. Amazing. Daufuskie will be home to the Six Senses Spa. Yoga, meditation, mindfulness, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's, super duper. That's going to be at Melrose. Number 11. Why doesn't County Council see this? I mean, honestly, I know two of them know about this, but do the rest of them know about this? And if you don't, why not? Thank goodness many of them are watching right now, so they're learning about it. So that's awesome. I'm glad you're hearing this now. To the Island Packet in Beaufort Gazette, why aren't you reporting this? The wheels are in motion, but the policies, practices, and procedures have not been done properly. How about new county administrator Michael Moore? Somebody send him this and let him know he needs to step in and go, time out, people. Number 12. Why is Neil Turner, allegedly violating ADA compliance laws? Why are you doing that? You have a golden goose, so to speak. So I don't think it's on purpose. Rather, it's got to be ignorance. You see, Turner has never really had a proper ferry with all of the things a real ferry must have. If you look at everything, he's had pictures of other people's boats. He didn't even own a vessel when he got the contract. He had to go get it out of Florida, and it really didn't work. And then something broke down here or there, and they had to borrow somebody else. And God forbid there was no heat or no air or whatever. And the life jackets were all on the second floor. And it's just been a fustercluck since day one. And the guy has never had what he's really needed to have. We showed you the contract where he circled he's never been involved in any litigation based on marina and ferry operations. And then we showed you the court history, obviously refuting that fact to a T. Hence, We know that the vessels he showed pictures of belonged to Hague Point. They weren't even his. And now he's telling people, well, I've got this vessel and this vessel, the Vagabond and the Drifter. The Drifter's owners told me personally, no, he doesn't, and we don't have nothing to do with him. The Vagabond, I was told today, not by the owner, but by an outside source, that they too have said, no, Neil Turner has nothing to do with the Vagabond. So we're pushing on that one. So why, Neil? Why are you adding the possibility, the inclination of the possibility of alleged ADA, federal ADA compliance violations? What am I talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked, because you remember a couple of shows ago, we told you the story of an elderly lady who could not get on the ferry. Not because her wheelchair was too big, but because the ferry did not accommodate her. Wait a minute. I know what you're saying. Well, we had wide, berths or doors or whatever, and she's just too big. No. That's not what ADA says. That's not what ADA says at all. You have to provide for the consumer. You have to when it comes to ADA. It's not that her wheelchair was too wide. It's that your ramps are non-existent and your door widths are too small. The ferry also did not accommodate a young lady we talked to who had to spend 3 months or so in temporary housing on Hilton Head Island after a leg surgery because they couldn't accommodate her to get home. This is vile and this is inhumane. Number 13. Only because Turner has told one of my confidants, that he was involved. This is what my informant has told me, allegedly, that Turner said he was involved, allegedly. And I'm going to bring up the fact that RV owners can no longer live full-time in the RVs in the county. Again, according to an informant, Turner is telling people that he brought it up and this is why it's changed. That is not true. However, yes, in 2022, a text amendment to an existing ordinance was passed, quote unquote, because of trouble on Daufuskie, end quote, as I was told by a former county insider and employee, that the text agreement was brought forth about adding shipping containers to the existing code. Excuse me. This was met with a very small amount of hiccups, actually. Mainly the hiccup was York Glover, county councilman from St. Helena Island, who wanted to make sure, in his own words, and I implore you to go back and watch the October, November, and December 2022 county council meetings, and you can see this for yourself, where they were taking the 3 readings and the 3 votes to get it passed. In his words, his agriculture folks, he wanted to make sure that his agriculture folks were exempt from this. He had said because they use storage or shipping containers for farming, different things on farming and so forth. He was told they were exempt from this. He was told that. Then someone added RV to section 5.3.20. Something is definitely amiss here, and this is where I can tell you this was added because all of a sudden we're talking about 2% difference in assessed taxes, which really means a shit ton more of money based on 4% to 6%, because that's not a 2% difference. That's a big difference, but that's money in the county's pocket. In November 2022, Councilmember Logan Cunningham stated, "I am glad this doesn't involve those with wheels, or we would have another situation." Well, it did involve wheels or RVs. This was passed, And these folks who were living in an RV, and we're speaking specifically to those in the Hilton Head RV Resort. Yes, it applies actually anywhere in the county, even Daufuskie, even St. Helena Agriculture. Those folks who were paying 4% property taxes now have to pay 6% property taxes because it's a second home, according to the county. It is against the code to live in an RV full-time in Beaufort County. And Glover was, I'm going to use the word lied to, because the ordinance clearly says, and this is section, record this, 5.3.20, quote, within all zones. You can't have it, shipping containers, RVs, and the like, within all zones. The use of any shipping container or the like, travel trailer or recreational vehicle, RV, as a primary or accessory structure shall be prohibited in all zoning districts. We got another arm of this thing. York, you just got screwed, brother. RVers, you got screwed. How do you fix this? Well, I've been thinking about this because I don't think a lot of people know about it. But it is code. I mean, it was passed. Was it passed wrong? Like somebody slipped it in? Hell yeah. I know how they do this. Yeah, it was slipped in. It wasn't what Logan Cunningham thought. It wasn't what York Glover thought. But too bad, so sad, boys. It's there now. So how do you fix this? If you want to have this fixed, someone on county council has got to go before the county administrator and tell him that you want a text amendment drafted to change 5.3.20 Part C as in Charlie to either remove it or remove the word RVs. County administrator will probably tell you to go to the committee chair. In this case, I believe it would be Alice Howard, and tell her you want to have a draft, you want a text amendment drafted to eliminate blah, blah, blah. If Alice Howard tells you absolutely not, whoever you are, you need to tell Alice Howard, let me remind you, sweetheart poodle, that you are not a dictator. You are a servant like I am. And if you don't get this in our committee, I'm just going to have to step over your little head and make this public. Now, how are we going to do it? I mean, that's how you got to be with these people, because they're not looking out for you. They're not looking out for you or you or you. They're looking out for them. So I want to wrap this subject up tonight and put a big bow on it. And here we go. 6 senses, and is either with or without the alleged input from Whitestone and Red Rock, even though we just showed you where they're like this, have put 4 yurts on Baypoint Island. They have built some infrastructure. We showed you pictures. All without permitting and zoning approval that we can find in Beaufort County. So, do you want something to be pissed off about if you're looking for that? If ADA compliance doesn't get your last nerve, if that's not enough, all of the conservationists out there, listen up. Apparently, the people in Thailand of 6 senses don't give a damn about Beaufort County zoning and permitting laws, as they're moving right along with Baypoint Island and plan to start selling lots now to be open in 2026. And you know, the more I think about it, it's probably not the folks in Thailand. They probably don't give 2 shits, just start making me money. I think the focus needs to be put on those here locally. The Whitestones, the Red Rocks, the Low Country Ferries, the blah, 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 blah. Okay? The Island Heads, the so forth. And this is by their own social media. All these things that we are hypotheticals. It's by their own social media that we brought this to you. I mean, it's on their own website. Bingo. Merry Christmas. I mean, how much more can you have done? This is what's going on behind closed doors and behind the scenes that you don't know about. Now, we have reached out to Neil Turner. We have done 3 times to invite him on the show. but have not heard a peep out of him. I've been out there on the site thinking I'd run into him. I ran into a couple of goons out there who think they're security guards. They're doing a job, but not him. We haven't heard a peep out of him. Neil, if you're watching, if you want to bring your Tom Taylor, your attorney, I mean, bring your dad if you have to. I mean, whatever. Bring your wife. I don't care. This is a public interest show. And if you want to tell your side of the story, hey, I want to hear it. And the several hundred people that are watching right now and the several hundred more that'll watch later on tonight and tomorrow until next week, they want to hear it too. Well, I'd love to hear your side of the story. If you're looking for added publicity, Neil, let me tell you something, brother. You'll get it here. You will get it here. So I'd be more than happy to oblige you. I reached out personally to a young lady by the name of Karen Cole of the group that owns Six Senses. It's known as IHG, which I think is the same people who own Holiday Inn Express. Anyway, I got a hold of her, or her, I guess her doorkeeper. Got an email, sent her an email, said, any information about renting of yurts, buying property, buying a lot? How can I travel to the island? Since you're advertising it, I want to know more. But I haven't heard back there from her yet either. So, hey, come on, folks. We've got nothing to hide. If you've got nothing to hide, then why are you hiding? Why are you all hiding from me? Don't hide from me. Let's tell the story. Just got to tell the story. It's pretty simple, and people want to hear it.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
So I ask you, as the name of the show said, is there a quid pro quo on the Calabogie or the Intercoastal? Sounds like the name of a good book or movie. Hey, Marge. Thank you. I'm so appreciative of you tuning in. Last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. We told you a week ago that we're trying to identify someone on town council in Bluffton that may or may not have done their business license. We have some information that has been sent in. We have not disseminated yet. So I didn't want to leave you with that just being held out there. We'll dig into that starting tomorrow. And if there's anything to that, we'll bring that to you. But at least we know this, that there wasn't a business license. So maybe there is now. Hey, put this on your calendar. I want to show this to you here real quick. If you have something that you're not doing on this date, on Wednesday, September 11th, 9/11, 6 to 8 p.m. at the mansion at Rose Hill, 199 Rose Hill Way. It is a fundraiser, big gala, big deal for State Senator Tom Davis. Davis is, I have spoken with him. He is cordially inviting everyone to come out to this event. It does not cost you anything. If you want to donate to fundraise for the senator, obviously he will certainly oblige that and appreciate that. Nikki Haley is going to be there. Governor McMaster will be there. Many state and local officials will be there. I'm planning on be there. All you need to do is call Nikki Maxey at 843-247-0001 or email him at Nikki, that's with an E, Maxey with an E, NICKEYMAXEY at gmail.com. That's Nikki Maxey at gmail.com for information on how to attend and all that kind of good stuff, how to get in through the gate. I guess they have to put your name on the pass and so forth. So want to see you there. Hey, Deb, thank you for all the info. Glad to hear listening from Connecticut. I appreciate you tuning in from Connecticut. Tell everybody up there in the one of the most beautiful states in the country, up there in the Northeast, Connecticut, that House of Cards says, hey. Leilani, Alice Howard needs to remember out-of-state contractors working in the bases rent spots to put their RVs and trailers. That is a excellent point. There's several things that Alice Howard needs to remember that voters need to remind her about come next election. And we'll talk more about that as time goes on. Number of people living in travel trailers and RVs north of the Broad. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have many here south of the Broad. And for quite honestly, for this to be swept in, two council members that we know about, Glover and Cunningham, obviously were told bullshit stories. It got through. Don't know how, don't know what the situation was other than it's more money, a lot more money, 4% to 6%. But you've got people now who, speaking, this is how we knew about it, the Hilton Head RV Resort, some folks there through other channels started getting information to me that, hey, my tax bill went from, in one case, like $540 to, I think it was $1,700, $1,800. I mean, these are exorbitant changes. I can only imagine if that were to happen everywhere, there would be a mutiny among a lot of council people. And quite honestly, maybe there should be. All right. That is going to do it for tonight. Everyone here on the House of Cards. Thank you for always tuning in. Go to our Patreon page. That and the Venmo, the stars, the whatever you see scrolling below, getting involved with the show. We appreciate that. Your donation is what keeps independent journalism and news alive. I encourage everyone to pay attention, even more so. Things are getting hot around the world. So pay attention on what is going on around you, because I fear for things that may come sooner rather than later. We'll see you again next week right here on Beaufort County's House of Cards and BigPatriotRadio.com. Until then, everyone, good night and watch your six.